for you to quit your dissertation? Is it time for you to just tell your chair that you're not going to be able to do it because you done ghosted for so long that you don't know how to get yourself out of that hole? There is a way to dig yourself out, but it's going to require a lot of honest conversations and some hard decisions. But if you're on board, keep on listening and watching as y'all come in. Hey, tell me, what is it like for you today on Monday? Give me one word or an emoji. How are you feeling right now? I just want to know, how are you doing before we get into this? Because listen, this is going to be a hard conversation for some of you. So before we get there, I just started, Sylvia. I was just doing the hook. But like, how are y'all doing? Okay, let me tell you a really brief story. So many of you know that my first semester, I was on academic probation. Like, official letter from the graduate school that said, ma'am, you're on academic probation. Okay, you got one more semester or we're gonna let you go. And me, I have never struggled academically. What do you mean I'm on academic probation? And that caused me to go into the deepest depression. Like, this is how I learned who Sterling K. Brown was for the first time. Because that December, I remember the year was over and I just stayed in my room. I shared like this townhouse with 2 other people. And I remember staying in my room. I got like 3 jars of cookie butter from Trader Joe's. And that's what I lived off of. I would get high and then I would eat the cookie butter, all while watching like all 9 seasons of Army Wives. If you ever watched that show, it's not like it was just so exciting, but that's where I was at. And Sterling K. Brown is what got me through, because I was like, I don't know who this gentleman is, but I need to know. But I just remember for like a good 2-3 weeks, that's all I was doing. My roommates ain't say nothing, whatever, until my father called me and was like, what you doing? Like, why you sound like that? Every time I try to call you, you sound high. And I'm like, I am, because I'm about to quit. Clearly, being a doctor, it's not for me. You see, because if I can't make it through the first semester, how am I ever supposed to make it through the entire thing? And he was like, okay. My father is a veteran. He fought in the Vietnam War. His PTSD is strong, okay? And he does a lot of advocacy work with other veterans in which he knows he is like people always come up to me and be like, your father has a way with people who are in crisis. This is where I get it from, y'all. It's like, he has a way. And so he already knew what the signs were. He was like, I'm gonna just go ahead and send you a ticket. You gonna come home because you sounded real dark. You need just to come on home. And I begrudgingly went home because I was like, it won't make a difference. I'm quitting. I'm going to go work for Trader Joe's. Leave me alone. And I went home and I was around just like familiar things, saw old pictures of me. It's not like my family even understands what I'm doing. To this day, y'all, they still think I have a PhD in psychology. I do not, okay? But I just let them say it because it's easy for them. Because I don't need to keep fighting with baby boomers about things, okay? Because if you got baby boomer parents and you know the struggle, I'm not about to keep fighting with them. But being home in a familiar environment helped me to remember my original reasons for why I wanted to become a doctor. Right? Because like I said, it wasn't like my family was like, let me give you the pep talk. Because in their brain, I must have just been having a hard time because I'm real smart. Like, I'm too smart. So school can't be an issue. But what y'all know and what I was learning for the first time was that, oh, becoming a doctor ain't got nothing to do with you being smart. That's the hustle. It ain't got nothing to do with if you're smart. And I only knew how to play the game where somebody gives me a syllabus or they tell me exactly what they want me to do or they tell me what the assignments are and then I find a system and I do it. Nobody told me about this, right? Because I wasn't getting C's in my program because I didn't do the work. I did the work. I was getting C's because I wasn't performing. I wasn't showing up in discussion like how they wanted me to, even though ain't nobody clearly outlined in no syllabus how they want you to show up in discussion. The feedback I got was like, well, your class participation is not where we want it to be. And when I would say, okay, well, where do you want it to be? Well, that's your job to figure out as a student. What? So then the way my anxiety is set up, I just started getting into a loop of like, well, clearly I don't belong. Clearly everybody got a handbook that I didn't get, and I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And then the harder I would try to prepare, because I used to read things 3-4 times. I used to highlight everything. I had a note for the note for the note, because I was like, well, maybe that's what it is. Maybe I just don't know the reading well enough. And that's probably why I don't know what to say when I go to class. But the harder I would try to be prepared for class, the more I would freeze up and lock up and not be able to communicate. It was as if I've never read anything about student affairs in my life, which is my background anyway. It was like they would ask me simple questions. And I remember like the turning point was we had to do a presentation, and it was supposed to be real creative. We had to do a presentation in one of our seminar courses, and it was supposed to be 45 minutes long. Y'all, I had stayed up for weeks agonizing over this presentation. Agonize over something I could have done in my sleep just a month, like a semester before. And when I got up there to present, my brain went blank. Like I could not figure out how to say the words. And what was supposed to be a 45-minute presentation ended up being 5 minutes. And the silence, the tension in the room, the shame I felt, that's where it all went left, and I could never recover. So while I got the official notice in December about being on academic probation, I knew pretty much like early November of that semester, it was a wrap. So this would have been November 2013, like it was a wrap. And so imagine that I already had this heaviness. I'm already feeling like I don't belong, like I don't know, they must have just, because I did have someone say like they took a chance on me, and now they're questioning if they should have even decided to let me in the program. I think when I look back on that, I think they were trying to say that because they thought that was going to motivate me, but all it did was make me feel even more like shit and like I didn't belong. And I was like, I felt singled out, and I just couldn't recover. And so the depression kept going and going. The shame got heavier and heavier. So by the time that email came from the graduate school saying I was on academic probation, I was like, yeah, I don't belong. Most of you, or some of you, are feeling that way right now about your dissertation. Because where I was at was like, there's no way to get out of this. There's no way I'm going to be able to pull myself out of the hole. Like, I felt like I messed up too much. Like, I too much time had passed. Now everybody had their opinion of me. Nobody was going to help me because they don't think I'm serious, or they don't think I'm committed enough. I mean, every time they talk to me, I sound so spacey. So they really just think I don't read, and they think I'm just, I don't know what I thought. I don't know what they were thinking. But I hear this all the time, especially if you are somewhere in like the literature review, and you're like, I just keep reading. I keep reading, and I keep reading, and I keep trying to give drafts to my chair, but they keep telling me it's not it. But when I ask what to do, they don't give me clear, and then you just keep going in circles. Right? What I want to say is that there are 3 main reasons that when I'm talking to students, or when I look back on my own experience, where burnout comes up, which is to me is the overarching umbrella as to why someone would ghost. Usually one is life, like life is lifing, like life events that you can't do nothing about, right? And they don't always mean that it's like negative life events, but life events, like maybe you move, maybe you have a child, maybe get married, maybe there's a death in the family, right? Maybe something financially happens, right? That doesn't have anything to do with school, but just because you decided to become a doctor doesn't mean life stops. So a lot of people, it's just life. Like you're forced to pause because life told you to go sit down, right? That's one area. Another area is something I call like capacity. And I define capacity as, do I have dedicated time? Do I have the energy? And do I have the know-how to do it? And then the third part is like uncertainty, or like trauma, like you're saying, racial trauma. And I'm linking that with uncertainty because especially when someone is treating you a certain way based off of identities that you can't do nothing about, it creates a lot of questions in your brain, right? You start showing up to places like, did I say that correctly? Or did they understand me? Or can they tell that this is new for me? Or why are they responding that way? Or why did they help that person do this, but they didn't help me do this? Am I just imagining things? When you start having all those questions that your brain can't answer, that's uncertainty. If you stay in uncertainty too long, right, the brain is like, I don't like that, abort mission. Your brain, I was just talking to the FYD group about when your brain can't answer a question, when it can't find an answer, it goes into panic mode. When you are in a prolonged period of where you can't answer questions or you don't know what to expect in your day or in your environment, the brain is like, oh, we need to kick into survival mode. That means there's such a threat, immediate threat, that we have to be concerned about survival. Because if I don't know what to expect and I can't figure out how to move forward, that usually means abort, like emergency. Let me say this a different way. Your brain is equating, this dissertation is so new, I don't know if I'm doing it right. Every time I ask a question, no one is giving me an answer in a way that I can understand it. I feel like I'm constantly messing up and not living up to expectations, but I'm working harder than I ever have before in life. Your brain is like, oh, that's just the same thing as you've been in a burning building. Your brain is not distinguishing between two. Your brain is like, you're going to die if you don't get out of this situation. But here's the thing. Your brain is really smart. It's been with you, right? Like, you are intelligent. So your brain knows it can't just come out and tell you that school is bad because you got too much evidence of school being a good thing. So it's like, okay, how do I be crafty about this? So then your brain says, I know what we'll do. We'll just shut you down. At first, it might say, let's do all the work. Let's work as hard as we can. Let's stay up all night. Let's make all the plans. Let's show them, right? You may do all the work. When that doesn't work, the brain is like, okay, I'm just going to stop. I'm just going to stop. I'm going to shut down. Because if I stop and shut down, that might work. Then no one will notice. I can't mess up a thing if I'm not doing a thing. If you are tracking me, if you do have a background in psychology, right? When your nervous system goes into survival mode, fight, flight, or freeze. Because after the shutdown, burnout, what usually happens is you quit. People quit the program. Right? Let me go over that. So you are in your dissertation process or wherever you are. You have a lot of unanswered questions. People don't seem to be helpful, or they're telling you things as if you should know it already. Now you're spending prolonged time with unanswered questions, which is leading to guilt and shame. When you stay there, the brain goes into survival mode. When we kick into survival mode, we got options of fighting back, which is when you start doing all the work. We got options of freeze, which you don't do anything. You just ghost probably. I mean, you stay stuck, you don't move. Or you flee, which is when you ghost. You're like, peace out. Because your nervous system is like, we have to get away from this threat. I'm saying it this way because most of you, especially if you've been in an environment like me, people just tell you things like, well, you just got to do what you know you're supposed to do. You just got to get to it. You just got to get organized. You just got to go do the thing. And it's like, you're making it sound so simple, and I would do it. But I can't. Right? It's not from lack of trying, because I'm sure if I was to be able to talk to each of you one-on-one, you would tell me all the things that you've tried. You will tell me all the ways you've tried to communicate. But you'll tell me about the strategies. You'll tell me how just because it doesn't look like you're doing something or making progress, you haven't stopped thinking about the dissertation or wherever you are. You haven't stopped thinking about it. But when we live in a world or in an environment that doesn't value psychological safety, right, it's hard. Okay, let me check in. How are we doing? Can I get like a one word or an emoji response just to see where we are, how you feeling as I go up and I look at these comments? Oh, happy birthday. I don't know if you're still here, but happy birthday. I'm just starting and wanting to make a plan for the next 12 months. I want to finish in 12 months. What would it look like to finish in 9 months? It's lip gloss degrees, boo. What would it look like to finish in 9 months? Okay. And if that is the first time I asked you a question like that, well, welcome to me. That is how I coach people. I want to challenge you to do what you don't think is possible, including coming out of a burnout or ghosting phase. Okay, I don't see any questions. Okay, feeling encouraged. This happened to me today. Felt overwhelmed and went back home. I'm quick. These days, I'm quick to go back home. I'm like, I'm quick to go back home. Okay, the first thing, whenever it's burnout or ghosting, or when you feel like things are too far gone, we have to go back to the basics. You are going to want to be like, but I remember when I was on it. I remember that in the day I could do all these things. You will get back to being that person if you want to. Right now, though, we have to go all the way back to the basics. It is as if, like, you know how like some people, they get into like a car accident and they have to learn how to walk all over again and talk all over again. That's kind of what's happening here. You have to learn how to be you essentially all over again, because you've been in a state where you've been like so unsafe that part of your brain has gone offline. So we have to let it know that it's safe enough to come back online. So the first thing then becomes, why do you want to keep going? I know that's real cliche, and I used to hate when people would start with a why, but I'm telling you, everything comes back to the why. Now, I'm not saying you need to have this super duper positive why, but we need a why that makes it worth coming out of survival mode. Why? I'm gonna be honest with you. One of the things that was driving me after that, like academic probation, was I just want to prove to that person who told me I wasn't going to be doctor that he got to eat his words. Okay, we're not judging our whys. What's your honest why of why you want to keep going? Another way of saying this, I ask students a lot, is why would you put yourself through all this hell and hurt and difficulty to be a doctor? Why is being a doctor worth it? Why is it worth it? Okay, and it's most likely not going to be, oh, I'm doing this for the ancestors. That's real noble of you, but it's not going to be the why that gets you out the bed at 3 o'clock in the morning for most of you. Some of you are going to be like, oh, I'm doing it because I start and I always finish what I start. Again, okay, your brain has already decided and calculated that sounds good, but that ain't enough. What's going to be the reason that you want to do this? I use the example a lot of, like, Beyonce said she was coming to pick me up this weekend, but I have to do all of my work in order for me to go with her. That why is strong enough for me to make sure this week's work is done, next week's work is done, and the week after that. Because, you know, she might say you can stick around, right? I'm going to make sure everything is done so I can fully enjoy my time with Beyonce. Think about Beyonce being your dissertation. Is the dissertation, or what about the dissertation, sounds so good, or it's going to lead you to an outcome that is worth you going through this process? What is your why? It could be other people, you know, because this is not about when they go low, we go high. If you got to go low, you got to go low. What's the why? But Sylvia, go further than that. Is it that you want your name, like every household to know your name and to recognize your work? Is it that, like, there's this group of people that you said you were going to go back to and you were going to help them? Like, we got to bring this up. We got to be so granular with this why. Because this why is what you're going to repeat when times when you're like, oh, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. I'll give you, like, quick story. Before I started the PhD program, I was working as a hall director. For those of you who don't know what that is, I was the person living in the residence hall with the students. Okay, I had a full apartment, but I lived there because you need a staff person there who's full-time for safety reasons. And I worked for someone who was a tyrant. And that last 4 months of me working there, I had this pack of Skittles that I would leave on my nightstand. The Skittles for me represented the PhD program. I'm like, ooh, in 4 months, I won't ever have to listen to this man's voice. I won't ever have to hear him talk to me reckless. The Skittles. And the Skittles became my why. You see what I'm saying? Like, we don't need to find the reason. We need to find, and it's going to be multiple reasons why you do that. So I am going to encourage you, while you're listening to me later on, try to get to like a good 10 solid reasons why you want to do this. because it's going to be the thing that gets you up in action. I hate going to get my nails done. I hate sitting in a chair for 3 hours getting my locks retwisted. But you know what? I love the outcome. So since I love the outcome so much, I am willing to put myself through that torture to get to the outcome. That's essentially what I'm asking you to do here. What's the outcome? Most of you haven't thought about in great detail what the world is going to look like for you when you are a doctor. What does a regular Monday or Tuesday look like for you when you're a doctor? From the time you wake up to the time you go to sleep, what does it look like? Do you love that life that you're imagining? Because the more detailed that you think about how your life is going to be afterwards, the faster you're going to want to get done. Because now you know why you're doing it. Because the why is one part as to what I see people, they haven't figured out or they haven't interrogated since they first got into the program. And the second part is you don't know what comes after. And your brain, what I say earlier, does not like to be uncertain. So if you haven't made a plan, when you always have a plan, when you always are thinking 2, 3, 4, 5 years into the future, and now you don't have one for after this process, your brain is like, now why are we rushing? Why do you want me to go through this torture? For what? We don't know what we're even doing it for. What happens when you're a doctor? So what started making a difference for me? I was going to tell the story about how I couldn't write my proposal. I tried to write my literature review for 9 months and I got 1 sentence on a page. What kicked me out was a friend, but also I got serious about building qual scholars. I was like, I'm going to have a business because higher ed is not for me. And the more detail I started putting down about this business is going to look like this. One day I'm going to have my own school and it's going to be other folks, other Black women helping me to run it. And I'm going to have all these people who I get to help. The more detailed I put in that, the faster I wanted to get done with that dissertation. So when my chair was like, girl, you got 2 months, I was a little shocked. But what got me through was I get to watch this video. That means 2 months closer to having a whole business and having clients. That was another part of my why. Another part of my why was I wanted my nieces to know that you don't have to do what you see everybody else doing in Chicago. You can make your own decision, even if people don't understand it, because people didn't understand why I was still in school. Right? My whole thing wasn't that they can go to school too, but my oldest niece at the time, and I don't know if this is still her goal, I doubt it, but she really wanted to go to Harvard for some reason. I mean, the branding. But I wanted her to know, yeah, it's going to take work, but you can do it. I wanted to be an example that someone where we come from can do something like that, right? But all of these reasons were helping me to show up on them days where I was like, I don't need another degree. No, Trader Joe's gives you part of the company. I don't need to do this. I am from Chicago, yes. I had to come to Georgia, though, because those winters. No, I need sun. Okay. So once you have your why, remember, we're baby stepping this. The next thing that I tell people to do is follow the scholar basics. Now, you don't want to fight me on this, and I'm going to tell you, do you want the energy to finish your dissertation, or do you want to stay in the struggle? Okay, because I do have empathy, but I also am not going to argue with you for the worst version of you. I'm not about to agree with you, because that's not how I see you. So the second part, if we're building baby steps, we follow the scholar basics because you have to relearn. The first basic is try to get to drinking 64 ounces of water a day. For some of you, that won't be a problem. For others of you, like me, who it takes a lot of focus and concentration to remember to eat or go to the bathroom or to remember to realize I've been in the bed for hours, having a goal of drinking 64 ounces of water is extremely challenging when I'm completely burnt out. I'm like, ooh, girl, caffeine? I'll give you 64 ounces of caffeine, but you want me to drink 64 ounces of water? So then that becomes my first thing that I try to get consistent at. Once I feel like I got a handle on that, then I focus on my sleep. How can I get to as close to as 7 hours of sleep a night? I'm telling you, the rest of what I'm going to say does not matter. What matters more than anything else I'm going to say is you hydrating yourself and you going to sleep. You don't think it plays as big of a role. But friend, if you're in your 30s, I don't care if you just turned 30. Okay, you made it through that Saturn return beautifully if you're into astrology. But after your Saturn return, meaning after you get into your 30s, the body ain't doing what it used to do in the 20s. You need to drink your water. And if you've been under prolonged stress, you need to drink your water and go to sleep. It doesn't matter what else you do, no matter what supplements, workouts, 100-day writing plans you have. If you are not drinking water and going to sleep, that burnout is going to stay there. So focus on, how do I need to set up my environment? What will help me to get into the bed? Even if you can't sleep for 7 hours, can you lay down for 7 hours? Can you be horizontal for 7 hours? You can scroll your phone. You can watch whatever you want to, but can you lay down for 7 hours and work your way up? Once you have that, then 10 minutes of free writing. That means you're going to empty out your brain. During this time when I'm in this place, okay, it's real dark. It's like, I don't think I'm going to make it. I hate everybody. I don't even want to be a doctor. I don't even know what I want to do. I just want to leave. I want to go to a mountain. I want to go somewhere where nobody knows my number or my name. And I just want to be by myself, right? I'm just writing out whatever my brain gives me. I'm putting on a page. And do that for 10 minutes. And then I usually go back to sleep. Because if I'm completely burnt out, that's all I got. I did the water. I'm going to lay back in the bed. I did a little 10 minutes. Lay down. We're not, dear diary, today, we're not doing that. We put down the ugliest, meanest, angriest, most frustrating thoughts possible on the page. Because if you do not put it somewhere, it circulates in your brain. It just circulates. So how you hear about like, oh, you don't even do nothing. You're so lazy. You need to get it together. Why are you doing? That's just circulating in your brain. It has nowhere to go. You're not listening. So the brain is like, I guess we must keep circulating because we're not doing anything with this information. But when you free write and it all goes down, now you're giving it somewhere to go. And it doesn't have to take up space in your brain. I'm not saying everything will be completely out, but you will have more space to work with. You won't be as inundated with those thoughts. As you get into the routine of doing that, then hopefully the energy is starting to come up. And the next one, number 4, is move your body for 10 minutes. This is where I get like, when I'm real like, this is my movement. I'm going to lay here and turn on a guided meditation. I'm going to lay here. Or, the ones when they're like, tense this body part and do this. I'm like, oh, look at me doing this movement. I hit the easy button. Do the bare minimum. Oh, see, look, I moved the muscle. Let me lay back down. Eventually, I'll get to a place where I'm like, maybe I could do some light stretching, Then I can I'm going to go do a walk. I'm going to do a little nice 10-minute walk. By this point, I'm drinking my water every day. I'm going to sleep. I'm emptying out my thoughts and I'm moving my body. You know what starts to happen? Your brain starts to come back online. It's like, look at us. We know what to expect. We know that every day the focus is to do these things. And we win because these things are easy to do. We're confident that we can do these things. We're confident we can drink the water and go to sleep and journal and walk or move. We're confident. Well, if we're confident in that, what else could we be doing? Now you have momentum on your side. So the 5th basic is to write a shitty paragraph. But I tell people, don't do this until you feel like you have the urge in your body. And you know the difference between I should be writing and I have to write. Like, if I don't get this out, I'm gonna lose it. I gotta go get it. When you get like an idea, you have to get it out, right? That's what we're waiting for. We're like, you're gonna do these 4 basics until your body is like, ooh, that reminds me of, and then you're gonna go write a shitty paragraph. And so I tell people, take 2 to 4 weeks to get used to this. Now, I can hear it now, because if you're still here and you've been here from the beginning, a lot of times what students tell me is like, I don't have 2 to 4 weeks to take off. I'm already behind. Didn't you just hear me say I was ghosting the dissertation? Yes, and you still need to take a break. Because if you're honest with yourself, the ghosting wasn't a break. You were stressed out the entire time. Now I'm asking you to intentionally take time, intentionally take 2 to 4 weeks to just focus on those scholar basics. Because the students who do that, let me back up. I'm not lying to you, okay, thank you, Kristen. I want to lie to you. I don't want to set you up for you thinking like, oh, this is going to be 2 or 4 weeks where you're going to feel good. You're not going to feel good. It's not going to be like, remember what I said? Like, I go sit in the chair and get my hair retwisted, or I go get my nails done while they like poke and prod me. I go through the pain because I like the end product. That's what this break is. It's not, I don't know what the people on TV be talking about when they're like, ooh, self-care, and they be making it seem like all relaxing. Now, I'm not saying some self-care ain't relaxing, but this, when you're in a burnt out phase or you're a ghosting phase, the first week is going to, you're going to call me every name in the book. I'm be honest, you're going to call me every name. You're going to be like, no, what? Why she got me? This is stupid. You're going to want to try to force yourself to do something. But guess what happens when if you're for real burnt out and you're for real like ghosting, when you try to force yourself, you won't be able to. You're going to run back into the same wall that you had earlier. So the reason why we need the 2 to 4 weeks is because you need your body's chance to catch up. But it's going to feel painful. It's going to be like, I should be doing something. I'm being lazy. But if you can ride it out, around like the second week, that voice will get quieter. And you'll start to ease into the break. You'll start to ease into the routine of drinking the water and going to sleep and journaling and like moving your body. And then eventually you'll start putting a shitty paragraph in there. A lot of people need somewhere between 2 to 3 weeks. But that 4th week, what I see people come back to life, they're like, okay, I'm ready. Like for real, like not in a I need to work all night. Like I'm ready. Now that we're there, like I'm ready. Then, and if you're inside the Finish Your Dissertation program, we create your 12-week plan. So you can type FYD if you want to know more about, I don't know why I do this every time. Try to talk and put it in here to learn more about so what we do is called a 12-week plan. We plan for 3 months at a time. Because the goal is that you will be hitting a milestone every 3 months. So let's say you were at the complete beginning of your dissertation process. Your first 3 months will be about writing your proposal. So then we ease you into that. But I don't say, okay, go ahead. No. What else is working with this 12-week plan is that the person who I'm talking to, the client, I tell them make sure they still come to the weekly calls. Even if they can't participate fully in the weekly calls, being around community is going to change everything. Because you'll have a plan, you'll know what to do, but remember, we're still learning. We're still getting our confidence back. So you need to be around other people who are mirroring the type of confidence or the type of doctor you want to be. Because that's going to do more for your nervous system than you being like, I have this nice plan. The plan is going to help, don't get me wrong, but you also need people. And you also need to continue doing the scholar basics. They all work together because they're going to build momentum. And you may have to go to your, if we're not following, I think we are following each other though. It should have sent you a link, and it might be in your, what's that folder where when you don't follow the person, the secret folder, I don't know what it's called right now. Words are not coming to me. But if you still don't have it, I will go check after this live. Okay. So mark my words about joining FYD. People, I usually have 3 camps of people. The first camp of people are like you, who are in their coursework, and they like, I need the support. I know I'm going to need the support, so I might as well learn the system now. So by the time I get to the exams and the proposal, I'm all ready to go. That was Chris's story. Y'all hear me talk about Chris all the time. Oh, it's Ariel. Okay. The second group of people are like, yeah, I've been trying to write this literature review. It's been months. It ain't working. And the third group of people are like, okay, I'm at the end. I was doing so good. And then I got on the other side of data collection and I ran out of energy. Because that's real. You think that when you get to the end, it's going to be good. A lot of people get there and it's like, whew, that was good. But I don't know if I'm going to be able to finish it. So I'm saying that to say, like, what we're teaching you is a system of how to be a student. We're teaching you how to organize yourself. Not even a student, I'm sorry, a scholar. We're teaching you how to organize yourself. We're giving you a writing system, as well as helping you to do the internal work so you can believe and you can walk into rooms being like, yeah, I belong here. And I'm not going to even question that. I got confidence. I know I belong here. I know I did the work. I know what I'm talking about. So that is going to be helpful for you, whether you're in coursework, exams, dissertating. We still have people come back after graduating because they love the structure in the community. And if I haven't said this in a while, so I'm gonna be honest even more. I do dissertation because I know that's what y'all want, and I really want to work with y'all. But if it wasn't about a dissertation, I wouldn't have a dissertation business. The process would still be the same though. This same process that I teach inside of the Finish Your Dissertation, I teach in the Simple Business Institute. I just use business words. Why? Because at the core of it, I am teaching you how to be the person you want to be. I don't want you to be a copy of me. I don't want you to be a clone of your chair. I want you to be the scholar or the CEO that you want to be, not what somebody else wants you to be. But if you don't have a way to understand the process and create systems for yourself that you can build off of and personalize, it makes it so much harder. Okay. Now I forgot where I was going to go, y'all. Okay, so earlier, I'll say this, and I've been talking. Oh, it's been 43 minutes. Earlier today, Ariel was there as well. In the call, I explained to them that your brain controls 80% of what you do. So if you truly want to stop ghosting, if you want to get out of burnout, it's a brain job. It is not a, what do? I gave you the tangible things to do because I know that's helpful. But this other part is I want to talk to you about your thinking. And the simple thing I want you to remember is when you get into a place where you're so overwhelmed and you're so consumed by emotions, create a way for you to hit the pause button. So if you have to move yourself from the situation, or I'm good. My friends already know I'm good for taking my phone out or my journal, and I'll start right there. I start raging on the page, right? Because that's my attempt of pausing. Before I react, before I make the situation mean anything about me, before I think I'm behind or I'm not doing enough, how do I pause? The first thing when you pause, you want to take a deep breath. Take a deep breath, because if you're not breathing, your brain thinks you're in emergency mode. So you keep breathing. And then you ask yourself, what are the facts of the situation versus what are the stories I'm making up in this situation? What are the facts? Like if I was to ask someone that I could, I'm going to tell them these details and they can measure it, or they can verify them, or somebody outside of me can know it's true or not. Those are facts. Just for a simple definition. What are the facts from the story of the situation? If you are saying things like, well, they don't want to help me, or they helped so-and-so and they didn't help me, so that means they don't like me, or I'm a slow reader, or it just takes me so long to write a paragraph, Dr. Lacey, those are stories. They sound factual, but those are stories you made up. And I'm not saying that you don't have good reasons of why you made them up, but they're still stories. Because facts sound like, yesterday I wrote one sentence. Today I wrote 2 paragraphs. Yesterday or 2 days ago I wrote a page. Those are facts. When you say I'm a slow writer, we can ask 100 people if you're a slow writer or not, and they're going to all have different answers because it depends. And now we're into stories and opinions. What are the facts? What did you do? So when you pause, if you could just do that, if you could just say, here are the facts, and just jot it down versus the story, it'll calm you down automatically. But from that point, you want to say, okay, if these are the facts and this is the story, how is this story making me feel? Now, this might be hard. It was hard for me to do in the beginning. I used to have this little handout or this picture on my phone that would have all the emotions on it, with the faces, so I can point to the face and be like, I feel that way, the way that face looks. Is why I like emojis so much. So then I just say, I feel this way. So let's just say I feel scared or anxious or guilty. Okay, what do I normally do when I feel guilty? What do I normally do when I feel shame? What do I normally do when I feel confused? These are different emotions that bring about different actions. When I'm confused, I'm usually reading everything rapidly. I'm usually on ChatGPT, I'm on YouTube, I'm asking people a million questions because I'm confused and I'm trying to get clarity. Versus when I'm feeling guilty, not in August because I'm real sad about it, but say this was July. If I was feeling guilty, I would go to the gas station and I would get 3 packs of fruit punch sour worms because I didn't know that was a flavor. But it turns out it is flavor. And then I would eat all 3 of those bags in my car if I felt guilty. I gave them up for the month of August for this challenge I was doing. And I'm so proud of myself. I made it 26 days because I'm telling y'all, the way I was eating them was not healthy, okay? If I'm feeling shameful, then I may spend 4, 5, 6 hours on TikTok just scrolling. Like, I wouldn't even be able to tell you what I was watching because I would just be scrolling. How I could tell you that so easily is because I pause and I pay attention. Now, just because I pay attention doesn't mean I'm doing anything to change my behavior. A lot of this work is just being aware about who you are. Most people are walking around and they are not aware of who they are, how they show up on a regular basis. We're so busy trying to rush and change ourselves that we don't even know why we're changing or what we're changing. You might find that the thing that you think you need to be more of, you already are. But you just don't have the awareness. So because I'm used to watching myself, I'm like, girl, what is with these fruit punch sour worms? And now I've had so much practice doing this that I also don't talk shit to myself. I don't be like, girl, now you know you shouldn't be eating this. Now you know. And somebody might think, well, if I don't have that voice, will I stop the behavior? And I just explained to you that I stopped the behavior. I didn't shame myself to stop it. I just was like, you notice every time you feel guilty about this thing, usually it's around team stuff, about leadership stuff, you go eat some sour worms. I'm like, I do, don't I? Why? Well, it's coming from feeling like guilty or feeling like overwhelmed because it's so new. There's a lot of new things. I'm usually telling myself a story about how I don't know enough, like maybe I don't have enough experience to do this, or I'm working with all these people who are so brilliant and so much more talented than I am. How can I be their leader? Right? That's all the stories. But the facts of the situation is I had a team meeting for 2 hours and we planned out the 90-day challenge at the end of the year. That's the facts what happened. What I made it mean is a story about me not being good enough or they're being smarter than I am. Me feeling guilty and shameful, right, is leading me to the eating the sour worms. When I keep eating sour worms over and over, now I'm gaining weight that I don't want to gain. Now my knee is locked up. Now I can't walk, okay? Now I can't even bend. Okay, I already lost my mega knees. Now I can't even get on the toilet because I can't bend my knees. And if I can't move my body and I can't bend my knees, then I'm going to continue to be in pain and I'm going to further not want to show up and do a thing, right? But all of that is just building awareness. The more awareness that you have, the more you can be like, do I like this? What I like about it? What don't I like about it? Do I want to change? Is it worth changing it? Because there's going to be some things that you notice about yourself and you'll be like, yeah, other people may not, but I do. I like it. When people talk about shadow work as a side note, that's what they're talking about. They're saying, do you see even the parts of you that are not, that you wouldn't consider positive or that you wouldn't consider like you would get praise for? Because we all have parts of us that we're like, ooh, I do that. I do. But your job is to make peace with it, because that is what's coming up when you go to this dissertation. I'm bringing this full circle. What you are not aware of, that heaviness that you feel, the reason why you want to hurry up and get done, the reason why you're rushing to the end, is because you're starting to notice all these things about you. All the ways that how you compare to other people in your program, how you compare to your chair, what they know versus what you don't know, how they show up and write and whatnot versus how you show up and write. And because you don't have a lot of experience of being aware of yourself in this way, it just feels like something has gone wrong and then it shuts you down. It feels like you don't know what you're doing, so it shuts you down. But when you have a process that says, let me pause, what's actually happening here? What's really going on? Because I was like, girl, these sour worms though, what's happening? I was like, I don't know, I'm gonna keep doing it until I figure it out. And then I went to a business call 2 days later, and the guy who was running the call was like, we're going to do a 30-day challenge. You have to agree to find one thing to give up and one thing to keep or to start doing. And I was like, oh, perfect opportunity, sour worms. I didn't make that decision because I was like, well, you just need to get it together because you just need to stop eating this candy. You already know it's not good for you. Because if that was going to work, it would have worked for you and it would have worked for me a long time ago. But that doesn't work. Shame doesn't work. So when you have a process, it's like, yeah, I do that. and you come from a place of like curiosity of like, why do I do that? What is it? What do the sour worms mean? Then when I'm presented with an opportunity like a 30-day challenge, I'm like, oh, that works. I'll do that. And I've been able to do it for 26 days straight because I haven't been talking shit to myself about sour worms. Do I miss sour worms? Yes, that's what I'm talking about them now. I do miss them. But do I feel like I'm just missing out? I'm like, no, I can get them on Sunday. I can go buy a bag of sour worms if I want to, but I probably won't. It's just something I'm used to thinking. So hopefully that made sense and that was helpful. I'm just going to look one more time to see if there are questions, but if not, let me recap. In order to get yourself from a period of ghosting or being burnt out, you first have to go back to the basics. You have to teach yourself how to be a student and a scholar all over again. Number one, what is your why? Why are you doing this? Why would you put yourself through this? Try to think of at least 10 reasons. Number two, follow the scholar basics. Drink 64 ounces of water, lay down for 7 hours, empty out your brain for 10 minutes, move your body for 10 minutes, and write a shitty paragraph. Work your way up there. And then number three, start thinking of, okay, what can I accomplish over the next 90 days? What is one thing? And as you are working towards that, become more aware of how you show up and how you think, how you feel, and how you act every day. That in combination with community is going to help you move forward. And if you need help with that, come join us inside of the Finish Your Dissertation Institute. Enrollment ends Monday. The price is going up after Monday. I'm going to say this as much as possible. The price is going up. There are people who have signed up and say, I don't want to start until January. That's cool. You got 6 months to start. But if you want to lock in this rate, friend, please lock it in. Okay. What is your recommendation for mentorship? And I've been thinking about that. Let's do something harder because it's not a school thing. You can come on over to the Simple Business Institute if you want to. In November, we will be having what is the word I'm looking for? Like a time management type membership for the people who are like, I don't think I need the full Finish Your Dissertation program, but I would like something consistent where I plan out my time and I know what I'm doing. We're going to introduce that in November. So that area might be a great option, and it's going to be a lower price, like something like way under $100. We're still planning it though. Okay, I don't see any more questions. I want to say thank y'all for your time. I'll be back tomorrow. I can't remember what my topic is. Oh, tomorrow my topic is writing 10 pages in 2 days. If you want to join us for the writing retreat, the 10 pages in 2 days writing retreat, that's going to be this weekend. But tomorrow I'm going to be breaking down how you do that so you can come to the retreat prepared. Have an amazing Monday, y'all, and I will talk to y'all tomorrow. Bye, y'all.